Thank you so much for joining us as always.
Thank you so much.
Journalist Jagdeep Uday Pratap Singh in Gurugram for the Blenders Pride Glassware Fashion Tour season launch of course, the heart of the national capital, and what better way but by paying tribute to designer Rohit Bal. Joining us to walk the ramp, of course, for him, in fact, in Rohit Bal in this tribute show is actor Rahul Dev. Rahul Dev, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
How does it feel for you today, clad in Rohit Bal, walking in this first ever tribute show for him, after he tragically passed away?
I think it brings back a whole lot of memories. The first memories of him, I was at the nightclub Ghungroos with my late wife, Reena. We were still not married, I remember, and there was this wonderful Rohit Khosla, the person responsible for me to step into modeling. And Gudda was alongside him, and grooving, because Ghungroo is a nightclub and it was really popular in those days. I'm talking about, I think, 1990. And so those flowing locks, which were curly and goldenish, for a pretty a man who carried his name Gudda, pretty much looked like one. And then subsequent to that, I think my next memory of him would be jump cut to straight away. I mean, of course, at Rohit's house, Khosla's, while we were shooting for some clothes of his with Prabhupada Das Gupta. Then I'm watching him from far at the Razmat, as there used to be this competition at the Maurya Sheraton, which he used to take part in, and seeing him win every other year at Kamal Mahal. And of course, from 1990 to his last show, one thing was consistent, the craft. There are few people who can't be contained in the kind of work that they do. So I think he's one of those rare blessed people who could not be contained in just making clothes, because he had a tremendous sense of stage, because being a dancer, knowing the stage, a bit of a theatre background, very rich with all of that, very receptive, very open to people's inputs, very keen on spotting newer talent. I think Arjun Rampal is just a product which has been, which he spotted. So, you can claim that, easily claim that. Also, someone very positive. One thing consistent, right from his long tresses, which were golden and curly, to the time in the early 90s when the straighteners came about and everyone was straightening the hair and different hair lengths I saw him in. Then of course turning into salt and pepper, we all did. And then eventually a scanty head also, even like a very, very short hairdo he sported, which was platinum. The happiness and the infectious laughter he carried all through on his sleeve. So he was one of those rare people who would make a room filled with people happy. He had that gift. Other than, of course, making the best clothes probably in the country, arguably. I mean, see the embellishments. I mean,
I was just going to ask you that. So many memories, of course, coming to your mind today. But what do you think about this particular outfit, looking very dapper in black?
I mean, it carries his hallmark, the rose he's always been known for. And what was incredible about him was that he carried, like he's being from Kashmir, he sort of brought that into his craft. So it was not somebody shying away from India. It was somebody bringing forth the Indian heritage, which is really, really rich, and sharing it with not only India, because India itself is so diverse, 29 countries, many, many cultures, many languages, and then of course people overseas, they look at us in a certain way, so changing that perception of people outside and being proud of what India stands for, so all of that. And what was so wonderful about him was that he would not make it into some serious affair कि यार बड़ा मुश्किल होता है काम बंद करना, बहुत ना इस काम के लिए hard work चाहिए, लगन चाहिए. It was for granted. He would make it light, on the contrary. He would make it happy. कि यार easy है, काम है, अच्छा ही होगा. And of course his traditional walk down the runway when his name used to be announced, it would come prancing down like a star.
Absolutely.
Not like a shy designer that they've announced my name kind of thing. वैसा नहीं था.
Okay. Now, just talking, of course, about today's show, it's also special. You're walking with Mugdha Godse. I think first time that both of you are going to be seen on the ramp together, kind of.
Ironically, yeah. I mean, the first time I think Mugdha and I are going to be together on the runway. I think so.
Yes. Okay.
I think so.
That's
And
special
I
too.
have to thank my dear friend Mr. Sunil Sethi, who heads FDCI, to have thought of us
Yes.
together.
Yes.
And of course, the legacy of Rohit Bal.
I was asking earlier who gives style tips, you to her or she to you? She said it's you.
Well, she's being honest.
Okay. Finally, I have to ask you on the work front, are excited for 2025? You already started it with Grey Lakshmi on OTT. How's the response been to that particular character? And excited for more projects this year?
So Hooda's been received really, really well. In fact, they're cutting out new promos of Hooda because the audiences have been very kind and generous with the Haryanvi aspect of Gudda, which seems to be the flavor of the country at the moment. Because the language itself has so much of humor. Even अगर उसमें बोलो राम राम से तो वो उस राम राम में भी ना एक अजीब ही बात है. दो ही भाषाएं हैं हिंदुस्तान में जहाँ माँ को और बाप को तू बोला जाता है. एक हरियाणवी में बोला जाता है, एक मराठी में बोला जाता है. एंड इट्स नॉट आउट ऑफ डिसरिस्पेक्ट, वो प्यार से बोला जाता है कि माँ और बाप तो यार हमारा ये अंश है या हम उनके अंश हैं रादर. तो उस किस्म से बोला जाता है. और बाकी जो इस साल का लेना देना है वो यही है कि a very very hectic and busy year. I'm looking forward to a whole lot of releases. I'm working on a war film based in 1971. I can't tell you more than that. Okay. It's a big project with a director I've always looked up to, and finally have got the opportunity after 24 years to work with him. Okay. Then there's a film in Telugu which is up for release with the director Bombirilu Bhaskar, which should be out soon. Then there's also a film in Tamil for Maitri Movies, Good, Bad and Ugly, with the legendary Thala Ajit, who happens to be a very, very dear friend, an extremely gifted man. We worked in Vedalam last, which was a super duper hit. In fact, I think the Indian rights have just been bought by someone, I don't know who. So a lots is happening on the OTT. There's going to be Adhura season 2 for MA Entertainment, which is Nikhil's company. I'm also in conversations with him for something else. Okay. So a whole lot of variety you would see from my end. I mean, God's kind, my master's grace is there with me always.
Great. And it's great to see also a variety of roles now, because you often said that you were a bit upset that you were typecast sometimes.
I was not upset. I mean, that was the norm of the industry then, because the industry had not evolved into where the writers would write parts for everyone being accepted. I think I would largely hold the OTT. Of course, there were drops in the ocean. Now, when we guys tried out, like I tried out Kalpana Rajmi's Kyun, it was called an art film in those days. But today, that art has a market in the OTT, it has a market on the digital space, it has a market with these 200-seaters, 300-seaters at the cinema halls. So a lot has changed. The audiences have grown so much because of Google, the world being so small. You can watch a Korean film, you can watch a Japanese film, you can watch any film. It has, you have access to anything and anything. The languages, I mean, I'm about 34 films in Telugu. I think I'm about 153 films old. So it's been a fairly long journey. But it continues to be still kind and generous. And what's really enjoyable now in this thing is that you are getting to do parts which are not restricted to just being, like for example, Grey Lakshmi. Yes. He's the conscious of, I mean, he's the society's conscious. I mean, he's for the system. Yes. Everything is white about the man. He's frustrated because he's not getting the opportunity to sort of book the criminals. So all of that.
चलिए, और ज़बरदस्त बात ये भी है कि आप अभी हरियाणवी कैरेक्टर का जिक्र कर रहे थे और आज आप हरियाणा में मौजूद हैं.
हाँ जी, ये तो है, इत्तेफाक है. गुड़गांव.
बिल्कुल. शुक्रिया हमारे संग जुड़ने.
धन्यवाद.
Thank you. With the video journalist Jagdeep Uday Pratap Singh in Gurugram.